As I told you in my letter when I wrote that Amy had been so kind to me, I shall never stop loving you. But the love is altered, and I have learned to see it is better as it is. Amy and you changed places in my heart, that's all. I think it was meant to be so, and would have come about naturally if I had waited, as you tried to make me. But I never could be patient, and so I got a heartache. I was a boy then, headstrong and violent, and it took a hard lesson to show my mistake. For it was one, Joe, as you said, and I found it out, after making a fool of myself. Upon my word, I wasn't so tumbled up in my mind at one time that I didn't know which I loved best, you and Amy, and tried to love you both alike. But I couldn't, and when I saw her in Switzerland, everything seemed to clear up all at once. You both got into your right places, and I felt sure that it was well off with the old love before it was on with the new, that I could honestly share my heart between sister Joe and wife Amy, and love them dearly. Will you believe it, and go back to the happy old times when we first knew one another? I'll believe it with all my heart, but, Teddy, we cannot be boy and girl again. The happy old times can't come back, and we mustn't expect it. We are man and woman now, with sober work to do, for playtime is over, and we must give up frolicking. I am sure you feel this. I see the change in you, and you'll find it in me. I shall miss my boy, but I shall love the man as much, and admire him more, because he means to be what I hoped he would. We can't be little playmates any longer, but we will be brother and sister to love and help one another all our lives, won't we, Laurie?" He did not say a word, but took the hand she offered him, and laid his face down on it for a minute, feeling that out of the grave of a boyish passion there had risen a beautiful strong friendship to bless them both. Presently Joe said cheerfully, for she didn't want the coming home to be a sad one, "I can't make it true that you children are really married and going to set up housekeeping. Why, it seems only yesterday that I was buttoning Amy's pinafore and pulling your hair when you teased. Mercy me, how time does fly!" "As one of the children is older than yourself, you needn't talk so like grandma. I flatter myself I'm a gentleman growed, as Peggotty said of David, and when you see Amy you'll find her a rather precocious infant," said Laurie, looking amused at her maternal air. "You may be a little older in years, but I'm never so much older in feeling, Teddy. Women always are, and this last year has been such a hard one that I feel 40. Poor Joe, we left you to bear it alone while we went pleasuring. You are older. Here's a line and there's another. Unless you smile, your eyes look sad, and when I touched the cushion just now, I found a tear on it. You have had a great deal to bear, and had to bear it all alone. What selfish beast I've been!" And Laurie pulled his own hair with a remorseful look. But Joe only turned over the traitorous pillow and answered in a tone which he tried to make more cheerful, "No, I had father and mother to help me, and the dear babies to comfort me, and the thought that you and Amy were safe and happy to make the troubles here seem easier to bear. I am lonely sometimes, but I dare say it's good for me, and—" "You shall never be again," broke in Laurie, putting his arm about her as if to fence out every human ill. "Amy and I can't get on without you, so you must come and teach the children to keep the house, and go halves in everything, just as we used to, and let us pet you, and all be blissfully happy and friendly together." "If I shouldn't be in the way, it would be very pleasant. I begin to feel quite young already, for somehow all my troubles seemed to fly away when you came. You always were a comfort, Teddy." And Joe leaned her head on his shoulder, just as she did years ago, when Beth lay ill and Laurie told her to hold on to him. He looked down at her, wondering if she remembered the time, but Joe was smiling to herself, as if in truth her troubles had all vanished at his coming. "You are the same Joe still, dropping tears about one minute and laughing the next. You look a little wicked now. What is it, Grandma?" "I was wondering how you and Amy get on together." "Like angels." "Yes, of course, but which rules?" "I don't mind telling you that she does now. At least I let her think so. It pleases her, you know. By and by we shall take turns, for marriage, they say, halves one's right and doubles one's duties." "You'll go on as you begin, and Amy will rule you all the days of your life." "Well, she does it so imperceptibly that I don't think I shall mind much. She's the sort of woman who knows how to rule well. In fact, I rather like it, for she winds one around her finger as softly and prettily as a skein of silk, and makes you feel as if she was doing you a favor all the while." "That ever I should live to see you a henpecked husband and enjoying it!" cried Joe with uplifted hands. It was good to see Laurie square his shoulders and smile a masculine scorn at that insinuation, as he replied with his high and mighty air, "Amy is too well bred for that. and I am not the sort of man to submit to it. My wife and I respect ourselves and one another too much ever to tyrannize or quarrel." Joe liked that, and thought the new dignity very becoming, but the boy seemed changing very fast into a man, and regret mingled with her pleasure. "I am sure of that. Amy and you never did quarrel as we used to. She is the sun and I the wind, in the fable, and the sun managed the man best, you remember." "She can blow him up as well as shine on him," laughed Laurie. "Such a lecture as I got at Nice! I give you my word it was a deal worse than any of your scoldings, a regular rouser. I'll tell you all about it some time. She never will, because after telling me that she despised and was ashamed of me, she lost her heart to a despicable man and married a good for nothing." "What baseness! Well, if she abuses you, come to me and I'll defend you." "I look as if I need it, don't I?" said Laurie, getting up and striking an attitude which suddenly changed from the imposing to the rapturous, as Amy's voice was heard calling, "Where is she? Where's my dear old Joe?" In trooped the whole family, and everybody was hugged and kissed all over again, and after several vain attempts, the three wanderers were set down to be looked at and exulted over. Mr. Lawrence, hale and hearty as ever, was quite as much improved as the others by his foreign tour, for the crustiness seemed to be nearly gone, and the old-fashioned courtliness had received a polish which made it kindlier than ever. It was good to see him beam at "my children," as he called the young pair. It was better still to see Amy pay him a daughterly duty and affection which completely won his old heart, and best of all, to watch Laurie revolve about the two, as if never tired of enjoying the pretty picture they made. The minute she put her eyes upon Amy, Meg became conscious that her own dress hadn't a Parisian air, that young Miss Moffat would be entirely eclipsed by young Miss Lawrence, and that her ladyship was altogether a most elegant and graceful woman. Joe thought as she watched the pair. "How well they look together! I was right, and Laurie has found the beautiful, accomplished girl who will become his home better than the clumsy old Joe, and be a bride, not a torment to him." Mrs. March and her husband smiled and nodded at each other with happy faces, for they saw that the youngest had done well, not only in worldly things, but the better wealth of love, confidence, and happiness, for Amy's face was full of the soft brightness which betokens a peaceful heart. Her voice had a new tenderness in it, and the cool, grim carriage was changed to a gentle dignity, both womanly and winning. No little affectations marred it, and the cordial sweetness of her manner was more charming than the new beauty or the old grace, for it stamped her at once with the unmistakable sign of the true gentlewoman she had hoped to become. "Love has done so much for our little girl," said the mother softly. "She has had a good example before her all her life, my dear," Mr. March whispered back, with a laughing look at the worn face and gray head beside him. Daisy found it impossible to keep her eyes off her "Pity auntie," but attached herself like a lap dog to the wonderful chatelaine full of delightful charms. Then he paused to consider the new relationship before he compromised himself by the rash acceptance of a bribe, which took the tempting form of a family of wooden bears from Berne. A flank movement preceded an unconditional surrender, however, for Laurie knew where to have him. "Young man, when I first had the honor of making your acquaintance, you hit me in the face. Now I demand the satisfaction of a gentleman." And with that the tall uncle proceeded to toss and tussle the small nephew, in a way that damaged his philosophical dignity as much as it delighted his boyish soul. "Blessed if she ain't in silk from head to foot! Ain't it a relishing sight to see her sitting there as fine as a fiddle, and a happy procession has filed away from the little dining room." Mr. March proudly escorted Mrs. Lawrence. Mrs. March was proudly leaned off the arm of "my son." The old gentleman took Joe with a whispered, "You must be my girl now," and a glance at the empty corner by the fire made Joe whisper back, "I'll try to fill her space, sir." The twins pranced behind, feeling that the millennium was at hand, for everyone was so busy with the newcomers that they were left to revel at their own sweet will, and you may be sure they made the most of the opportunity. Didn't they steal sips of tea, stuff gingerbread ad libitum, get a hot biscuit apiece, and as a crowning trespass, didn't they each whisk a captivating little tart into their tiny pockets, there to stick and crumble treacherously, teaching them both that human nature and the pastry are frail? Burdened with the guilty conscience of the sequestered tarts, and fearing that Dodo's sharp eyes would pierce the thin disguise of cambric and merino which hid their booty, the little sinners attached themselves to Grandpa, who hadn't his spectacles on. Amy, who was handed about like refreshments, returned to the parlor on Father Lawrence's arm. The others paired off as before, and this arrangement left Joe companionless. She did not mind it a